how can you call someone a coward
Right.
who has been on the battlefield before?
On the front
Something that
line.
you have never done.
On the front
Right?
line.
Something you have never done, right? Somebody who is out in the pub, who is out showing his face, you are so coward. You are calling somebody a coward. You are so afraid. You have never shown your face. We don't know your voice because you also hide your voice, and you have the audacity to call somebody a coward.
Pingy, Okavango, Rasdada, Yaga, Truck Fender, the Living Fire represent to the fullest. See? Perfect balance. Don't know so. Trodclass. Living fire represent. Keep the fire burning out. What Emmanuel I Celestia Jack. Keep it like right. This is it.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Perfect Balance Trodclass, a place where conscious-minded and like-minded individuals are guided towards the full realization of their potential through collective reasoning. We have with us today Yaga, aka Teacher Ma'at, Okavango, the Rebel Guru, Bingi.
Okay, thanks for life.
Joining us again, a regular member of the Trodclass, Brother Delani. Welcome. I'm yours truly, Rashdada, and we are the Perfect Balance Trodclass. Today, we're diving into a powerful and necessary conversation, one that's been stirring minds across the continent and the diaspora. In a recent YouTube video by a popular faceless YouTuber, Sir P, out of Jamaica, leveled numerous criticisms of our beloved captain. Is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the interim leader of Burkina Faso, a puppet of foreign powers, or are we witnessing a strategic reawakening of African sovereignty? Let's get into it. Let's look at the historical context. Historically, when African leaders challenge Western dominance, they're often met with delegitimizing narratives. There are many examples of this. You have Marcus Garvey, Leonard Howell, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, and Kwame Nkrumah, Gaddafi, and the list goes on and on and on. Men who dared to dream differently were labeled as radicals, communists, or worse. The word stooge has long been weaponized to strip leaders of credibility, especially when they forge paths outside the Western framework. So let me ask this. Why do you think this label of stooge resurfaces so consistently when African leaders pursue independence from Western influence? And do you believe these narratives come from a place of concern or from a desire to preserve global power structures as they exist presently? So let's take it from there.
Bingy, this popular YouTuber, Sir P, I don't know if you know him.
No.
You heard of him?
No.
Okay, so he's a very, maybe the most popular, I think he's the most popular YouTuber out of Jamaica at the moment, right?
Man.
And he normally talk about crime in Jamaica, especially Jamaica, right? So he did a video talking about Ibrahim Chaiyore, and he labeled Ibrahim Chaiyore a puppet.
Okay.
He said he's a puppet and he's posturing, and he's not what it seems, and people are, are caught up with this Ibrahim Chaiyore, and he's not what he seems. He's a puppet, a Russian puppet and a Chinese puppet. So these are the major things that he was saying about him. But everything that is bad, he was saying about Ibrahim Traoré. He's pastoring, he's a coward. He's using the gold money from Burkina Faso to protect himself from the people in Burkina Faso and not from outside people, from the rebel groups. That's what he's using the money to protect himself from, and he's a coward and stuff like that. So that's what we're gonna talk about today.
All right.
Yeah.
So I mean, based on what you're saying, he must have some real evidence to prove all that he's saying too, right? But the part about Ibrahim Traoré being a puppet, I think we always going Ibrahim Traoré Ibrahim is in a unique position. But he can become a puppet, you know. And here's how he can become a puppet. If he keeps on taking help from Russia and China, it wouldn't be without demand. And it wouldn't be without them getting what they want in return, right? So it's not that he is a puppet, But to the level of extent that he go to these people for help, that could also compromise him. He could be compromised based on the level of help he getting from outsiders as well, right? So we don't know that Ibrahim at this point right now is a puppet. We know that many men who have been in his position have become puppets. And he also risks that if he doesn't have rapid infrastructural development within his country in a smart manner. How does he do that? With the resources that he has, right? So, I mean, what this brother saying about him as far as being a coward, all of that, I don't know. I don't know any of that to be true, right? He would have to come with some kind of proof using the money to protect himself or the goal to protect. We don't know that either, right? Because we haven't seen his lifestyle change. We haven't even seen his pay change.
Right.
So you would think if I have all this money or this resource and it's in my self-interest, I would see evidential outwardly changes too, right? We haven't seen that. We've seen a Pan-Africanist. We've seen an African who's trying to lead his country out of the hands of the oppressor. That's what we have seen. Now, legitimately, we have seen this happen time and time again. He can become a puppet if he doesn't pay attention to what he's
Yeah.
doing, right?
But as far as
So,
we are seeing now,
wait,
he is not. Brother
no,
Delano, you are itching to go. I can see that.
mm,
Mhm. Mhm. Never.
mhm, mm,
Yeah.
Anybody will do that in this time.
like it was a echoing of the U.S. position on
Mm,
Chaiyore.
mm,
He was
The
echoing
mainstream
Langley,
media.
particularly General Langley interview at Congress was making the same kind of claim that Sir P is articulating in his
mm,
criticism
mm.
When
of
when
the
when I was
African.
listening to it, it was like listening to Richard Langley. What's his name? Langley, whatever his name is.
Yes, the
Yes, it was listening to him.
General Langley.
So the question is out there now: is Langley Sir P? Because we don't know who is Sir P, you know. So we
Exactly.
have
You
to
don't know,
ask the
you
And then
don't know
now,
his
question
identity.
and
and
then
finally identify who is Sir P.
yes, yeah, yeah. No, also I would add to it that he accused Abraham Traoré of being a coward and this weakling and rare-rated and fear for him safety and all that. But guess what? Sir P himself is so damn fear for his own safety that he don't show his damn face. He might hide behind a bloody mask and claim that other people are fear. So it's nothing compared to Abraham Traoré. He has to protect his life in Jamaica by hiding behind a mask. But Traoré, who is leading a revolutionary process, should not protect his life. You see how
Madness.
unfair and unbalanced that is. You don't expect this man to put together security to defend himself. And I've always mentioned it before. I think we spoke about this. The Burkina Faso government do not have control of the whole territory of Burkina Faso because of the Islamic rebel
Mhm.
present in that country as a destabilizing force.
Mhm.
You have to be security conscious. You cannot be naive. And the fact that is one of the reasons why election is not even feasible in that country because the Islamists and the terrorist forces them have a significant control of the
And we
territory
have to be
of that
clear.
country.
We have to be clear, Brother Dulani, and who is supporting the jihad in the country. We have to be
Yes.
clear on that.
And
Elaborate on that,
and and
Yaga, and who is
So
doing it?
the jihadist is being supported mainly by the Europeans, France, who is carrying grievance and up in arms about being kicked out of the country because they were there 10, 15 years before, and the security of the country keep getting
Deteriorating.
worse
deteriorating.
and worse. It keep deteriorating, and the president comes now and said that he's gonna take control of his sovereignty. He's gonna take control of his borders, and he's gonna ask the French to leave because he needs new alliances. And one of the alliances formed is with Russia, and Russia is supporting them with intelligence. Russia is supporting them in many spheres: agriculture, education, and of course,
Mining.
security. Now, one of the key points that I take from the video is where he mentioned the agreement that was signed by Burkina Faso under Traoré with North Gold to say that the deal is 85%, 15%. 15% Burkina Faso I don't have to put a penny in. They don't have to put a franc in. But they are guaranteed that as a royalty and them producing and mining the gold. Now, before that,
They were getting nothing.
decades before that,
They were getting nothing.
the royalty that they were getting is less than 3% in that ball field. And Yahya Jammeh in 2009 in UN, he blew the lid on this and said he refused to take 5% because they were offering him 5%. And he said that what he's getting is better than what everybody else is getting because there is only 4 countries in Africa getting more than 3% of royalty and
And
mining
the
resources
minerals.
with these foreign corporations and these countries that control these corporations.
And another
So
It
thing
seemed
too is
comical
that
though,
is a
Yaga.
time
It
limit
seemed
as well.
comical that
it
we
is,
talking
it
about
is.
5% and 15% of your resources though. It seems comical, right?
It does, but when you look at what
No,
has to go into
into it,
the
yeah.
mining of it, and you're
Yeah.
not coming up front with any of
But
that cost,
it don't matter.
then
You talking about billions of dollars in resources
we
over time,
agree.
Rich.
We agree.
We not talking
Let me add
about
a
the
little.
equipment you spending money on is not billions of dollars in equipment, but your
Yenge,
resources are.
Yenge, you have to look at the whole context of it, you know.
I
You have a
overdo
com
the I saying.
Yeah, no,
Eh,
Prano. You have a company coming in your country, right? They set up shop in your country and they're gonna take out resources, right? Remember, this also is a job producing thing where people from your country get jobs. You know what I mean? So there's a cost going to all these things. There's a pay people, whatever, and the country collect 15%. Maybe the 15% seems like a small amount, but
Okay.
It is a
when
small amount.
no,
It's
but
not
when you
Let
look
me
seem
at
add
the
a
like
whole
a
little,
small
thing,
amount.
let me add a little clarity to it, that if I can, and with these terms of negotiation, these type of projects, that you hear they talk about 15 and they hear 85. We're talking about the ownership, the basic ownership of the whole process. So that project with no goal control is 15% for the government, 15%. That's the ownership. The profit is still being taxed, and it is a limited time. I think this is an 8-year
8 years.
cap
Mm.
on that contract. Just like in Jamaica, I'll give you an example. The highway, the Jamaican government don't spend no money on it.
No.
Right.
And them not
But
only for
but
the
The
40 years,
Chinese.
no, I think at 25 years. I don't know if them
25
extend it
years.
now. 25 years. So that's the kind of we call it formula that they've been coming up with now
Right.
to try to alleviate. So after a certain amount of time, that will turn over back to you.
Bingy.
100% of that will turn over back to you.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Bingy.
because you don't have the well, let me just finish this point. You don't
Go
have the
ahead.
infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
the technological infrastructure at the moment to really bring about that rapid development you're looking for. So this is like a bridge to full takeover of your own production process. Now, you have to know one of the parts of these agreements you have to look into is that the training, the transfer of technology, and also equipment in the process to
Mm-hmm.
eventually lead to you taking over your own mining and
Eventually,
processing
yes.
It's
facility.
a
So
win-win
these are some of the
situation.
things. Yeah, these
We
are
have
some
to
of the
look
things
at.
that have to be built into the contract to make
Right.
sure that this will happen. So in 10, 15, 20 years, you are in
Yeah,
control of your resources.
100% of your thing.
But
Brother Delani.
and you have to be strict on that. Go on.
Brother Dulani, like you said, these are the things that would have to be built into those type of contracts, but we don't know that. And I tell you something, we have examined companies that go into Africa and build or companies and extract minerals. One of the things that I have observed is the people who are in any decision making in those companies are always foreigners. They never
Mm-hmm.
locals.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yes.
never
And,
locals.
and,
At the
and staying
highest
a level that
positions in these companies,
Yeah.
they're not locals. And
Yeah.
those are the things that need to be changed to ensure
Right.
that when these companies leave, they don't collapse under
Bingy.
local management. And
Right.
we
I
see
Right.
will
that
give
happening
you an
time
Time,
and
time
example.
and
time
time again.
again.
Bingy.
And let me give you an example with Starlink in South Africa. South Africa required that the local have to get 30% of the company.
Yes, yes.
Starlink don't want to. They want to have 100% ownership
Hmm.
of that company subsidies in South Africa. And we're saying we cannot allow that. We have to put laws to guarantee that the local
Absolutely.
people, the indigenous people, benefit from these
From
operations in
this
their
fuck.
country.
Right.
Hmm.
True.
Hmm.
See?
Yes.
Bingy.
yeah.
So
Bingy.
Sir P,
Ready. Hold on up.
again.
Give me a talk to man. Look for
Okay,
when
go
you
on.
want to say something. Right? Bingy. You see, the real thing with this is this, right? We are looking at an experience of colonialism in a Burkina Faso, right? Where France had controlled these mining rights prior to this agreement.
Hmm.
And leading up to this agreement, France was giving them almost nothing.
Nothing.
You understand?
As a matter of fact, the economist was being trained because they have to put a certain amount of their
Into it.
GDP in France.
Into it, right?
Back, right.
So now, when they made this agreement now, he negotiated that, all right, we're going to secure 15%. And when you look at the common agreements in this area within the continent,
It's more
it's
than
like
everybody.
way more. So it's a step in the right direction. And that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
looking at.
I'm not
Because
saying it's not a step in the right direction. I'm saying it's comical at this point in time. We still talking about 15%. That's what I'm saying, even
agreed.
in an undeveloped state, right?
that's
Because
a good
even if they
point.
were to go into any other territory outside of Africa to extract anything, those foreign governments will be negotiating more and will
Right.
be
No,
getting
no,
more.
that's a good point you're making, Bingy. Now the thing about it, it exposed our weak position. And that's one of the things that we have to acknowledge,
Right,
that we are at a
right,
disadvantage because
right.
we can't divorce or detach that from our 400 years experience with
Yes.
Right.
enslavement and
Yes, man.
colonialism
Mm-hmm.
as weakening us
Mm-hmm.
in a
Mm-hmm.
position where we have to pretty much be negotiating for 25 and 30% when we should be
It cut
negotiating
our
80
bargaining power.
and
Right.
95%. We should be
And
talking
again,
about
it's
right.
not that it's not moving in the right direction. It is. It's
Yeah.
just that
Yes.
we
It's a
shouldn't
touch.
be here
You
We wish
can't.
now.
it. We wish it was more. We wish it was.
And
Right,
another
but
Yes,
thing
remember
yes.
too.
the
And
history.
another
The
thing too.
history.
You
The
have to
history have to be
understand
quite.
that as a part of the deal. As a part of the deal, there are also agreements and arrangements made for technical training,
Mm-hmm.
agricultural machinery, and development in agricultural inputs in farming and stuff like that. So all of
Mm-hmm.
these
Mm-hmm.
things are factoring as part of the deal and support that they have already been receiving.
So and also
And the
if you
security
listen
as well. Don't leave out the
listen,
security.
and if you listen to how the Russians and the Chinese are speaking to the people of Burkina Faso, it's with respect, it's with understanding our historical situation, it's understanding the transition that's needed to go toward self-sufficiency and self-determination. It's also respecting the sovereignty of those countries. So there's a different tone towards the relationship between those countries with Africa than with the Western world.
Right.
The Western
Yeah,
world have
here's
been
one of
raping
the
Africa
things
for so
I would
long.
like to see these foreign investors to show their real goodwill, or these governments that doing business with countries like that do, is help them to develop the weaponry to defend themselves. That is one of the things I want to see these foreign powers do, because that's the only time that these our brothers and sisters are going to be able to stand up for themselves, when they
Yeah.
can defend themselves. So I want to see
That's not gonna happen.
That is a
investment.
good point.
No, I want to
That
see
is a good point.
investment in weaponry. Then I
That's
know
not gonna happen.
that your
African
will and
countries.
intention is 100% in my favor, for my sovereignty, for me to do what I supposed to do without being bothered about people coming and invading and taking what I have. That's what I want to see.
Valid point.
That's what I
That,
Valid
really
that is
want
point.
to
a
Thing
see.
being,
very
was
good
the
Valid
point.
point.
African
And we
countries
have
with
to be the one who build that. We have to be the one who
right.
build those
Yeah.
institutions that they deal with making tools. You have to make your own tool. That's significant. And make your own weaponry and your own artillery, which is bullets and so
Well, we
forth.
have to have
You
support
have
to
to
do
be in
that,
control of
Brother Dulani,
Yes,
because
sir.
remember,
Yes.
the Western world will not allow you to develop weaponry beyond a certain point, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
now you gonna have
You
weapons that
become
you
a
could
threat.
fight against
You
them.
become a
That's
threat.
what I want
Not
to see. I
even
want to
equally,
see
not
that
only
type of
weapons,
support globally.
All right.
And then
Back
you're
to
not
talking
only
about
the
prayer.
that.
And then,
back to the
then you're going to hear
Sir
the
thing.
argument. There will be an argument about priority as well. What are you going
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
prioritize?
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
weaponry. Are you going to infrastructure road? All
Yeah.
different type of construction. You're going to get that argument from the
But
detractors
you
who will
can't
try to come and
prioritize any over the
undermine.
other.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah,
have
You
to be
yeah.
can't
simultaneous.
prioritize any of them over the other, because all of them are
Exactly.
equally important.
Important. That's correct.
Yeah, but
Okay.
back
So
to
back
the argument, the original
right.
argument. At this point in time, I have seen no evidence to support whatever that YouTuber is saying. No
Yeah.
evidence.
Yeah.
None.
I said, back to the Sir P thing, right? What on that
Yeah.
Olani? I've been listening to Sir P for quite a while. I am a subscriber to his channel. I am
Mm.
also
What
a
them call
patron
you?
to his
What
channel.
them
So
call you? When you are subscriber to the channel. Yeah, vulture, yeah. What other name? What them call you? The
He's a
followers of Sir
patron.
P.
He's telling you he's a
I think
patron.
because I'm not just a subscriber. I'm also a patron. So I think he
You're a
called the patrons.
patron.
I
Patron
think he
squad.
called patron
Patron
squad,
squad.
right? I'm not a
You're a
PIA,
squad
but I'm a
member.
patron. I'm a patron squad. I'm in the patron squad,
So how do you
right? So
feel?
I support his channel financially, right? So I'm a big fan of it because I love the work him do on in the crime thing in Jamaica. But
Mm.
he stepped out of his comfort zone a bit, and he's talking about something else. And when I listen to what he was saying, I find it very lazy. I find it to be very lazy reporting. He didn't give
Yes,
any
sir.
context, historical context
Mm.
of what he was talking about. He didn't show like where was this coming from? How did Burkina Faso reach in this position? He didn't talk about the people who made Burkina Faso reach in this position. And I mean, he didn't talk about nothing. He was very lazy. And it seems like he was trying to be the center of attention because
And he was arrogant. He was arrogant with it.
right because
You know what
it
my view of
it
it was?
hold on, let me finish now. Cause in the whole thing, it seems like everybody is saying one thing. Ibrahim Traoré, you know what I mean, is the man, he's doing well, and like him just want to be the person who is saying something
The
opposite.
opposite.
The
Yes,
opposite.
yes,
He just
yes.
want to be the opposite, so
He
he get
knows to
Yeah.
play the
the
algorithm,
attention.
man.
The attention.
He know how to
And
manipulate it.
Just let me
Checkmate.
let me finish. He talk about AI, right? He talk about people using AI and it was like he can't believe that Jamaicans were so stupid to believe the AI. But I mean, well-thinking people don't know AI when they see it. You know what I mean? But I want to say the same reason why people are putting out those AI videos is the same reason he put out a video on Ibrahim Traoré to get the views. Because
Yes.
Ibrahim Traoré is so popular right now, everybody's talking about him. That is the only reason. Because Brother mentioned earlier, he never go in political scene before. He never talked about Pan-Africanism before. But guess what? That is where the views is. And the AI people who are doing the AI videos and doing the misleading people with misinformation, they're all there. He's doing the same exact thing as them, and that is very lazy. It's very
That's
lazy.
correct.
And he always talk about, do it for the views, for the views. He did that video
To be
for
honest,
the views.
to be
It's people
honest,
like us who has been talking about Ibrahim Traoré before Ibrahim Traoré was popular. Before
Exactly.
all those things was popular, are not doing it for the views because we don't get paid to do it. He get a lot of money for doing those things. So he just want to be the odd person out doing the opposite to get different views. Yeah,
to
so
be
The
honest
I'm
with
saying
contrarian.
you,
it's a very lazy reporting
He want,
by.
he
to
want
be
to be the
honest and
contrarian.
fair to Sir P, to be honest and fair to Sir P, he's a skilled public speaker. He's someone who is persuasive and he can convince the people through reasoning. So he's pulling on people's emotions and bringing receipts to show that, look at this evidence, guy. You see this guy? Here it is, guy. But he's not bringing any counter evidence. And someone might say we're not bringing any counter evidence either because you're representing African views. But we always represent the views and show you the historical context of what is going on. And to say it is AI, that is not an argument to disprove or throw the information because people are also protecting their identity. And it
So he's
also
He
AI.
works well
So he's
within the
actually AI.
algorithm also because it's another income stream for people. So people are using it. And we know the advantages and disadvantages of AI. And because we're winning the propaganda war and reclaiming not just victory, but the dignity and identity and the right to shape our future, it doesn't mean that we cannot use AI in the battle of the information world.
And to add to that, Yaga, right? This is the first time, I can't remember another time, like positive propaganda was coming out of Africa. It's
About an
normally
African leader.
negative propaganda. So the first time positive propaganda, you have to look at it and say, okay, positive propaganda coming out of Africa.
Good.
Why is
About an
positive?
African
You know what I
leader.
mean? And even to
Start the negative.
SHIT and that positive propaganda. You understand? Like,
and if
why?
you you notice, he tried to straw man the argument that if you disagree with him, you're something wrong with you.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Psychology.
you know kind of thing there. It's a very clever psychology. That many of you
Psychology.
will listen to me
Yeah.
and try to straw man you. You know, you can't disagree with him. You know, see it. But and then they bring up the 85 and 15% argument, and then look around. Everywhere you go in the world, people are doing agreements and making the what best choice for the people under the
Right.
circumstances. We're not disputing that. No one
Mm-hmm.
is even disputing that, but you use that as a battling ram to try to corner you so you can have no argument. You know, see, but he's a very clever person. I give it to him, but I think he was disingenuous with this analysis.
I
He was
think
out
Lazy
of
man, lazy.
I
he
think
was
just
very
like
lazy,
Okavango said,
very lazy.
it's really an attempt at tapping into the trending nature
Yes,
of Ibrahim Traoré at the moment. So he said, okay, how can I do a video about Ibrahim Traoré without seeming like the other videos that exist already? So let me
right.
just do
Thank you.
something
Thank
different.
you.
So that's
Be a
Thank
to
you.
me,
contrarian. There's coming a
yes.
contrarian view to contrary with everybody else
He
now.
just
Which is
creating
great.
Because
And guess what?
controversy.
And guess what he
controversy,
done now? He
controversy
have
brings.
Controversy.
crossed. He's actually
Right, right,
succeeding because
right.
he's
And what he
stimulating now.
does.
I
So it's
respond
actually
now.
meeting his
So it's not going
goal.
Him
right, and he's gonna
control the
now get
algorithm.
and see
Yes.
others. They're gonna go over there now to see what he have to say, and
And Brother
then put a
Delani, and
bonfire upon him.
that's the problem within the whole thing, because we can see that he do it for the views. And
You
Sir P is a man who always pushing like he's not doing this for the views, he's doing it for the
yes,
country. You know what I
yes,
mean? So you see how people can get bought into
yes.
these things. He was this person who was standing for something, but guess what? Still have to make the money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
You
him get,
Yeah.
yes, I.
The way he tries, Brother Lulani, not belittle.
Who are we
The way he
talking about?
tries.
Who are we talking about now? Is it AI or someone we're talking about?
That's what we're saying. He's here as well.
yeah, right. Because
Nobody
he
knows.
himself a hide, and a criticize a man who are protect himself, and you
So
are hide to protect your damn self.
right, Sir
Because
P.
if he become revealing to the public of Jamaica, he probably don't last an hour.
Right. So
Right.
he used the words.
So nobody
He
know who
actually,
he is?
Nobody.
he virtually supported, the rebel groups, say the rebel groups are the real tough people in Burkina Faso,
Yes,
and Burkina Faso, and Ibrahim Chaiyore is a coward, and he was a bit like that, He just
yes,
hiding because the rebels
yes,
wanna do him something, I'm saying, but if you did any little research and be not lazy and do a little research, you will know that Ibrahim Chaiyore was fighting the rebels before
before
he became the president.
became
Absolutely.
president,
That's
of
how he
course.
end up there.
He had missions when he went to went and fight before.
Yes,
He has
On
yes,
the
missions
battlefield,
before, right?
yes,
yes.
Yeah, battlefield experience with something. I think Serpi is also
a
was
soldier.
a soldier, something that he had never experienced in the battlefield, You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
how can you call someone a coward
Right,
who has been on
right.
the battlefield
On the
before?
front
Something that
line.
you have never done,
On the front
right?
line.
Hmm.
Receipt.
Something you have never
Here's the
done,
next
right?
receipt when bring.
Somebody who is out in the pub, who is out showing his face, you are so coward. You are calling somebody a coward. You are so afraid. You have never shown your
Easy.
face. We
Here's the
don't know
next
your voice
receipt.
because you also hide your voice, and you have the audacity to call somebody a coward.
But
Come on.
that's what I
But
said.
how you know it's
If
a
you
This
want
is
someone
person
a
then?
coward,
How
hypocrisy.
you
say
know it's a
Serpi is the
person?
coward.
That's why we're
A
person is saying he's
hypocrisy.
AI. We're
Hypocrite.
Yeah.
not sure if he's a real person.
We
Here's
don't
the next
know
Right.
rhetoric. Here's the
what
next
hypocrisy.
here's the next rhetoric. He mentioned, oh, when Vladimir Putin rolled out the red carpet for him, he couldn't carry his peace. He could not carry his peace.
Ridiculous.
Who carries that peace at a diplomatic mission?
Ridiculous.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous argument.
And the
And we
fact that
and we
people
and
are
we don't
seeing
know.
that,
We don't know if
people
he
are
wasn't.
seeing that.
We don't
But
know if he
people are
wasn't.
seeing that and people say, yes, yes, Turkey is right because he couldn't carry guns to Russia.
Who can
Who else
carry
is
them gun
carrying
go to
the
another
Somebody.
gun? Who
country?
else is carrying the gun? Show
Eh?
me who else carrying the gun
Who
then.
else, do that?
Who else carrying the gun?
Madness,
Listen,
man.
that is a protocol. That's an international protocol. World leaders do not carry guns
That's
to meet one another
nonsense, Roots.
into any
No,
meeting.
nobody cannot carry no gun to another country like that
Any
because you
meeting.
have to have legally.
I
It's
have
illegal
protocols.
to carry a gun in another country. It's
Hmm.
illegal. That's trafficking.
A
A
few
weapon.
years ago, the South African plane landed in Ukraine with the security detail of the president. And they couldn't disembark because the security detail had gone and they had all the clearance.
Hmm.
As I said, this is some lazy
Yes.
reporting.
I agree with you, my brother. I agree with you 100% on
Yeah,
that.
And
man, lazy
the sad
reporting.
part about it, right, is to know that for so long we haven't seen any kind of galvanization behind an African leader, right?
Yes.
And to see someone as influential as Sir P come out and choose to be the one who wants to discredit this person is the really sad part about it. If it was
That is
if it was
correct.
coming from a Caucasian, it would be
Yes.
Right.
expected. You understand what I say? It
Even
would be like,
even one of the bootlickers them.
you
Even one of
understand?
Ras,
even
Yeah.
yes.
Ras,
Yes, sir.
you say you don't know who he is, so how you know who he
Good
is?
point. Good
Caucasian, he
point.
could
Good
be
Right.
point.
Caucasian too. You
Good
don't know.
point. Good
Right.
point. Good
Hey,
point.
Because
Good
in
So
point.
voice,
you don't
in
know.
voice is
Good point.
exactly because the thing about it, in a bingy, his voice is also scrambled and his image is not known. So we don't even know what it sounds like in real life.
So the
True.
So it
voice
could
is
well
distorted. I never listened to the
Yes.
brother, right? It's the first time
yes,
I
his
even hear
voice
about
is
the brother,
his
so I
voice
don't
is
know. But
computerized. He computerized his voice, and so
so
you
you
don't
don't
know
know.
who he is. You don't
Could be
know.
a
It could very
agent,
well be an
could be a
AI. You
agent, could be
see,
a
and it could
AI.
be a Caucasian.
yeah,
And the thing about
Yeah,
could
it,
be a
in
man.
this
Caucasian.
particular video, he sound like an agent. He sound like an agent of imperialism for the first time. I never
Yeah,
even saw
man.
him in that light before. That he will actually be a spokesperson for the imperialist forces or the
Yeah,
colonial
man.
forces. And
Yeah,
this is
man.
the first time I saw him in that light.
But to be honest,
But
is
wait,
a person who I'm kinda weary about because a lot of the stuff what they go on in a Mobile region
Hmm.
is attributed to a lot of the stuff what him bring out to the public. You get what I'm say? And almost
Hmm.
like him almost instigate.
The
has
man's an
anybody been
agent.
convicted on any
He's
of
an
his evidence
agent.
on anything that he
That is what
says?
he is, an agent.
Mm.
Has
That
anybody
is what
He
been
he
sound,
is.
he sound like
convicted?
one.
Has
Yeah.
anyone been convicted based on his evidence that he purport?
I don't know
Yes.
of anything
Yeah.
because it wouldn't be that it was acceptable in court for you to
No,
say, okay,
but,
Sir P said this, so that's
But it's
Yeah,
a
evidence in
you
lead.
court.
you
It's a
can't do
lead.
that.
but he,
It's a lead that can follow.
but
They
he
can't really
has,
do that still, Yaga. But people
yeah.
as people, yes, talk about people and say they are crime producers that already used and they have been convicted before or
As
Mm.
been
crime
locked up or
producers,
been
yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah,
but
but
he
some
So
of these
does,
things,
he
we know
does.
some of these things as well.
huh?
It's just that we
Oh yeah, yeah,
don't talk
man.
about them
No,
things
so
then.
normally what he do is
That's
highlight people who like the normal public who didn't know was, you know what I
crime
mean?
producers.
Crime producers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
that's what
he
Mm.
I say.
seems to have
Him create
links in the
attention.
underworld.
He does. He does. He
Him cre-
does.
Yes, he has some very, his tentacles, he have tentacles almost all over the place. Because
Yeah,
some of the
man.
crime scene them and some of the events and that took place, the way he narrate them as if he was on the spot. Can tell you what clothes them are wear, what shoes them have on, what car them
Yeah.
are drive, what yard and what fence them jump over, how many weapons they had, how many this, how many that. I mean, the detail is just starking, you know what I mean, in his narrative. So he has to have some kind of intelligence on the ground. He probably been
him have
an
access
intelligent
to it, man.
officer in the police force before or even in the soldier
Military.
soldier
He is the
military field.
intelligence.
Mm.
Yes,
He is the
yeah,
intelligence.
Yeah,
yes.
so you
Yeah.
know
Sound like
what
an
I would
One of the
say.
operator.
things that he said, right? One thing that he said, like people are saying that Donald Trump want to take the life of
Mm,
Ibrahim Traoré.
mm,
And he said,
Mm.
if the USA want to take the life of Ibrahim Traoré, they'd have done it already. Because,
Mm.
you know what I mean, Russia can protect Ibrahim Traoré because Russia can't stop American bombs going into Russia. So how could they
Guys,
protect Ibrahim
guys,
Traoré? And I'm saying, that is just such a lazy take on the thing. That is such, you know what I mean? Listen,
True.
America want to take out Castro for the longest time.
This
made
time.
Castro
several
died
Yes.
of old
attempts.
age,
Made several
right?
Thank you
attempts.
very much.
Made
Several
several
attempts.
He
attempts.
live a natural
I'm
life.
sure they
9
want to take
attempts.
out what's his
9.
name? What's his name again? Kim from North Korea.
oh, not
Kim
And
I'm
Korea.
Kim
sure
Jong
they
Jong
Un.
want to
Il.
get rid of
Kim
Kim
Jong
and he's
Il.
Kim
Yes.
alive.
Jong Un.
Yes.
They want to take out the Ayatollah from Iran. They are still alive. They even was
Exactly.
trying to take out the Houthis the other day, and they had to run
They're
leave
still
the
alive.
war from the Houthis because they were losing too much money from the Houthis the other day. And you're saying,
Right.
oh,
Right.
that
They're
what a
invincible.
lazy
What they want
take.
to give is that the imperialist forces are invincible. They can do anything, anywhere, and anyhow. And that's what you call giving them too much power. You give white supremacists so much power that they make them almost invincible, undefeatable. And you don't
Mm.
surrender to them before they even fire a
Mm.
shot. That's a dangerous mentality. And the
But
reality
he,
is, The reality is that when Russia invited Ibrahim Traoré to Russia, a four bomber escort the plane into Russia, out of Burkina Faso. He never mentioned that. You notice that he never mentioned that. The level of security precaution that they
Security.
took to
Right.
bring that
And
man into Russia.
what he did not mention also is the Pan-African led movement that rise up
Right.
across the global south on April 25th,
Never, not one
where
word.
people from cities from Johannesburg to Jamaica, Paris to Philadelphia. You were in London, Brother Dulani.
Yes, I rose up.
At some of these marches, when people stand up in solidarity against what Langley said, that and we felt
Yes.
certain
Yes.
about, and rise up
And
and
he,
stand behind.
and he never mentioned Langley once.
Not once.
Laziness.
Not
Laziness.
once.
I know that was a threat on Traoré life when Langley came out and made those false accusations against the man. He never
Uh,
once mentioned that he's supposed to be a journalist who's fair and balanced.
But he wouldn't do that because that's
and
his source.
let's say some of his accusations are true, right? Let's say Ibrahim Traoré is a puppet. Let's say Ibrahim Traoré does pastoring, he's afraid. Let's say all those things. The level of Pan-African, the level of pride that has risen up just because we think that Ibrahim Chaiyore is doing such a marvelous work.
It doesn't
It's
matter.
unprecedented, it's
Yeah.
something to be
Yeah.
celebrated. This is a good thing.
Inspiration.
Yes. The
It's very,
symbolism of it. The
Yeah.
symbolism
yeah,
of it. He's trying to
Inspiration.
tear it down.
Yeah.
We don't
But
let
yeah.
it's
them
too late
criticize
for
any
that.
of those
It's too
presidents who
late.
have been there for 20, 30 years.
Who are,
And
who are
nothing has
Yes.
proven
happened and
puppets.
still being the vanguard of
Who
the
are
show.
proven puppets.
Who are proving
Proven
puppets?
Yeah,
puppets.
who are proven puppets.
Right.
You don't have no criticism of those.
Questionable guy. You are a questionable guy.
Ibrahim Traoré is not the only president who's walking around with a gun. He's not the only president who is not
For sure.
wasn't democratically elected in Africa. There's a lot of them there, But he chose to choose Ibrahim Traoré, right? And I'm saying it's very lazy. It's very lazy of this
And
fellow.
disingenuous.
And as
Yes, man.
a patron, you're very disappointed.
No, I'm just disappointed as an African. As an African, because he said he's an African man. And even though we're talking about Sir P, there are other coons, there are other roast-bred fruits who are coming out and saying the same thing. You know what I mean? They are there. They are rising up now. And
We kind of expected that from them. Expect that from them. The
some
coons.
gasoline in the fire to make it blaze a little higher. So
Yes.
they are coming out.
There are some people that we expect it from. There's some
Yes.
coons and coconut them in media we don't expect that to come from. But I was blindsided by Sir P. I never expected him to come out like that. That level of laziness and disingenuousness and shallowness in his analysis was totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's
So that's why we have to make sure that we not do it for the views,
right. But the next
Yeah.
thing too is a good thing too, because a life lesson again that we shouldn't be, what you call it again, sideswiped by these things. Because it is a effort to get we off of the journey, off of the mission. You see me? So similarly in our journey, we go have people who we expect to come out in solidarity and support of us, and they might be the ones who come out and say, oh, the third class this or the third class that.
Yes,
so we have to know that these are things that will happen, and just keep our focus on the mission and just keep striving, Persistence is to try, Yes, I.
Yes.
Man, and we just want to say with Ibrahim Traoré, we notice the Pan-Africanism is live and well.
Buzz
You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
His
Healthy.
leadership resonates with the youth and the level of consciousness we are seeing in this generation and them
And
youth.
the platform that he's choosing to stand on.
Yeah, man.
The platform that he's
Yeah,
choosing
man.
to stand on,
Him a
because
connect
these
with
are
the
things
youth
that
them.
people desire.
As we say, we are winning the propaganda war, and them not like that because them a get beaten at for them one game. You see what I say? Now the news are reached.
And I would add, I want Ibrahim Traoré to continue on the path. Don't be dissuaded. Don't let these people discourage you. Stay focused on your security. keep developing your country. I want to see 1,000 Chaiyore across Africa
Yes,
that
sir.
do the same work
Yes, sir.
and that push Pan-Africanism. We need symbolism
Yeah,
of
man.
these
Yes, sir.
levels. We need to see more leaders come out and speak. Even if he accomplish half of what his vision is, we still support him because we need people with vision. And we need people that standing on African sovereignty and African principles and values. And most importantly, we want to get to that level of self-determination and self-reliance. As
Yeah,
Bingi says, we need to get where we are in control of our resources. We can't lose focus on that. So the
No.
aim is to gain control of African resources and to use it to build Africa and build African people. You know,
well,
see,
big,
so
A
rise them up
message.
because no other leader, me see right now. Well, there are others out there, but
The others out
too
there, but
many
yeah,
are not saying these things clearly because of fear of this imperialist force who seems to be invincible and can take you out at any moment,
yeah, man.
as Sir P would want to say.
Fear
And
of
we need to know that
retaliation or
we
repudiation.
exactly we have
right.
agency. We can do for ourselves.
I'm
African
message to Sir, I'm message
liberation.
to Sir P, right? I'm message to Sir P. There's a reason why the perfect balance chat class don't do crime videos because we don't really know about crime like
I
that,
hear you say
like
that,
you,
yes.
Sir P, right? You are
Especially
the
We
me.
don't have
expert
the
and
intel.
Especially
you're the
me.
We don't have the
expert on
intel.
crime. So
Especially me.
we have beg your sir. You don't have the intel, so we have beg your Sir P. Leave the Pan Africanism. Leave
Stay there.
Africa. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Load them the argument there to the
Australia,
perfect class.
yes.
We will talk about Ibrahim Traoré. We will talk about Africa. You talk about
Yes,
crime because obviously you know you're not willing to put in the work to do those things
yes,
properly. You're not willing to talk about Africa. Put in the
yes.
work to talk about Africa. You're not willing to put in the work to talk about Pan Africanism. You know what I mean?
Vision,
We are
yes.
willing to do that work. That's how we do that work. You
And
do
you're
And
crime,
talking as a
and
and
we
let
do Pan Africanism.
and let the
Yes, sir.
record reflect that. We're not saying that Abraham is a superhuman or he's
No, sir.
perfect or
No.
he cannot make mistake. We all can make
it's
mistake.
not a
What we have
panacea,
to
it's
do,
not a quick fix.
we have to look at what would we do if we were in power. We have to see ourselves as taking power. How would you go about bringing about the immediate and medium term and long term development of your people? What would you do? We got
And,
to start thinking about taking power, how we use power. And that
and
is the
that is
challenge that
something
Abraham Traoré is
that I
facing.
see Ibrahim doing as well, where he's looking
Yes,
at the end result and not just
yes,
the now,
immediate.
the
The
here and now.
process,
He's looking at
not
Yes,
just the
what do we
process.
need to do to
Long.
get to
yes,
this
no,
end result.
yes,
And
yes,
something I forgot to mention earlier. Ibrahim Chaiyore is not doing interviews. He's not on your TV. He's not the one that is propelling himself to the people. You know what I mean?
It's
You
his
don't seem
works.
like that unless it's necessary. So people like Sir P is the one that is really talking about him in that type of way and pushing him out there. You know what I mean? And make him all over the place.
Mm.
So
Because you
don't
there in
come
Africa,
and act like say it's him a do it. It's not
Mhm.
him a do it. It's the
the youth them in
people like
Africa see that this is what they would have
Because of
wanted
him
in their
works.
yes,
country.
sir.
Because of him works. I'm
also,
works. I'm
al-
works. I'm
Yes, sir.
general Ghana this popularity, you
also,
know.
yes, also one little point. It's a little point he mentioned, which is a lie. That Abraham Traoré does not speak English. You hear him say that? Total lie. The countries are English and French speaking country.
French speaking,
Yo,
yes.
All of the people in that country speak English and French. And
these
Abraham
people are
Traoré,
bilingual. If they were in any other country, they would be demanding a decent salary for translation.
Mhm.
thank you. So that accusation was completely false.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
Well,
sir.
You
again,
know, so
it reflects the laziness of his reporting and
Reporting, man. You're
of his
very lazy, man.
investigation. He couldn't even investigate that to realize that the country is a split between French and English. He
yeah.
thinks they was just a free. Can say Abraham Traoré do not speak English.
Hmm.
Joke.
You drop the ball, sir.
Well, like we're saying, we are aware that in the struggle, we're gonna have naysayers, we're gonna have
Yes.
adversaries, we're gonna have
Yes.
adversities. So in the
Hmm.
journey, this is just one of those, and we just want Captain Chaiyore to stay the course. We want him to remember that he has a vision, he has a plan, he has a goal in mind, and he has to remember that there are gonna be people who want to deter him from this, and he should just remember that to stick to the goal, stick to the plan, because those who are with you are greater than those who are against you.
The
Yeah.
youth of
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Africa.
For
and
sure.
those in the
Share.
diaspora.
Share.
Rise up.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
Give
Yes.
thanks.
That is it,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Give thanks, man.
Give
Bless
thanks,
up.
my Lord, and give thanks to the church class for highlighting this issue.
Yes, sir.
Give thanks for life.
Take it out, Dada.
I said the perfect balance Trodclass. I don't know, say a truck for the living for this represents. Good over evil, me tell them see a life over death. I swear, said I will never switch. Keep the fire burning out. Holy Manuel I Selassie, Jah, blazing fire.